That's the ball you see him hit out of the ballpark to left field, and hits the fastball to right field. Very tough to pitch to. The best thing about him, he knows what his pitch is, and he doesn't swing at that pitch until he gets it deep in the count.
And he's only played professional baseball for a very short amount of time. Peter, you know, we do the NFL draft here on ESPN every year, and everybody makes such a big deal in the NFL about blue chip draft picks, like first and second round picks, and how many guys have come through for you. Baseball, you don't hear the term that much, but maybe we should when we're looking at the White Sox.
Well, Chris, the job that Larry Himes and Al Goldis did with the White Sox shouldn't be overlooked. I mean, yeah, they had high picks 4 years in a row, but I mean, the Dodgers had Bill Benet and Dan Opperman, and the other Mariners and Rangers have blown draft choices. These guys didn't blow one. Jack McDowell in '87, and then Robin Ventura, Frank Thomas, Alex Fernandez. The #1 starter. Thomas is a franchise hitter. Ventura, along with Rafael Palmeiro, is the best young left-handed hitter in the league. And Fernandez is going to be a first or a second starter. It's really important. Now, they had some problems with the other scouting down lower, but it's the foundation of that team was built with 4 drafts, and it's probably one of the reasons that Goldis may well end up the general manager in Milwaukee.
It is an oddity, and baseball has more than one draft. The June draft, the big one. They also have January ones, but even Scott Fletcher's a #1 draft pick for them. Carlton Fisk was a #1 draft pick a couple of years ago with the Boston Red Sox. You got a lot of #1s out there, and they're playing the role right now. We got more coming up on this edition of Baseball Tonight, including a talk with Bo Jackson, Frank Thomas's one-time college teammate at Auburn, football teammate. When might Bo return to the field and make his debut as a Chicago White Sox? And Frankie V tries to follow Doc Gooden's lead and write the Mets' listing West Coast ship in San Diego. More highlights in baseball coming up.
Growing up, I didn't have a lot of things, but I always felt that my family worked for everything they had, and I think that carried over with me. I wouldn't say I'm physically gifted. I can't run or jump. Practice, practice, practice. Every time I go to the free throw line, I think all net. So no matter how hard you work or how hard you try, there's always somebody out there a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. I don't know why God chose me to play professional basketball, but thank God he did.
If your sporty car doesn't feel so sporty anymore, you need a change. To BF Goodrich TA tires, put on a set and feel a whole new level of performance.
Undefeated Todd Foster, the U.S. Olympian, provides the knockout power against Davey Montana. Plus, Scotty Olsen, the flamboyant Bulldog, is ready to show his stuff. Top Rank Boxing, Thursday night, live on ESPN.
A change is coming, it's understood. Happening all over my neighborhood. Only one place got the taste for me. Gonna change to Pizza Hut delivery.
Call Pizza Hut Delivery now for the double cheeseburger pizza. Get one medium for $8.99, a second for just $4 more. Or make it deluxe with bacon and onions for just $1 more.
Gonna change to Pizza Hut delivery. Pizza Hut delivery, making it great.
Who's hot in baseball? John Wehner plays for the Pirates. You gotta call him Big Poison. Educate the youngsters of one of the great players, Big Poison. Lenny Dykstra's been hot since he's been coming back, and Matt Williams swinging a good bat for the Giants. Over in the American League, Junior hitting almost 500 his last almost 50 at-bats. Robin Ventura has been helped pave that White Sox highway. Frank Tanana-Daiquiri goes tonight against Nolan Ryan. That'll be a heck of a matchup. We'll keep you updated on this evening throughout our game, the White Sox at the Red Sox. A team that's definitely not been hot since the break, the California Angels. They've fallen a dangerous 8 games behind in the AL West going into today, and they need to pull themselves up by their collective sanitaries rather quickly. Today, Jim Abbott tried to help the Halos give a Bronx cheer to the New York Yankees. Abbott, after a slow start this year, has come on, a start that saw him 0-4. And he got some defensive help from the G-Man, Gary Gaetti. Rob, Steve Alto sacks. Top of the second, 2 on a 1 out. Luis Sojo up, but wait a minute. This is not the Kissing Bandit, but a lookalike called Topsy Curvy, kissing Scott Kamenicki. You think he was bothered by that at all? Well, the next pitch, and Luis Sojo becomes Dave Winfield. He puts it over the head of the left fielder, and 2-run score. Top of the 6th, Max Venable. Bernie Williams makes a nice sliding catch, but the Angels bats do in Kamenicki, along with other things do in Kamenicki, and the Angels win at 8-4. Shades of George Brett. When Morgana came out about 10 years ago, the next ball was a grounder right between his legs in a game at Yankee Stadium. Angels got 10 yesterday, lost. They got 8 today, and they won. However, they've been losing ground because of their mark since the last time they were in first place on July 4th. They've gone only 6-14. Their bats have been quiet. Last 2 games, they've shown some signs of busting out of it. Mariners have been a very hot team since the break. They're at Cleveland today. Randy Johnson against Albert Bell. He sends him down swinging. 5-5 game in the 6th inning. Pete O'Brien to right field. Mark Witt trying to throw up Vizquel at the plate. He's out by a mile. Still 5-5 in the 7th. Pinch hitter Alonzo Powell. Pitch looked low and out of the strike zone, but the little bouncer drives in the winning run. Defensive play of the game, Jeff Mickey Manto robs Omar Vizquel, but it was not enough to help the Indians win. The Mariners win at 6-5. They've won 12 of 17 since the All-Star break, and Powell delivers the big blow. Game tonight, Detroit at Texas. We'll be keeping you posted during our game tonight. Frank Tanana against his old California teammate, Nolan Ryan. And, of course, Ryan going against the Tigers and all those free swingers. Who knows what will happen in that game, how many Ks Nolan might ring up. That, of course, will keep you updated during our Red Sox-White Sox game tonight, coming up after the show at the top of the hour. The dreaded Who's Not Hot list? What about Kevin Moss of the Yankees? He's on the interstate. He's below the 100 mark in his last 45 at-bats. The hit dog is take the hit out of there the last 33 at-bats. And the Eck, although he saved one today, he was struggling lately. National League, Sean Dunston, Dale Murphy, David Cohn, and Wally Whitehurst, both Met starters, have been cuffed around the last couple times they've taken the ball to the hill. We'll be back. Still to come on this edition of Baseball Tonight, Ellis Burks trying to get it together in Boston. And can the Giants extend their winning streak at home against the Phillies? We'll be back.
The way to not win in tennis is to think too much about your opponent. Because in tennis, you don't just play the opponent. You've got to play the ball. It's how you play the ball that determines whether your shot is in or out, whether the point is won or lost. Play the ball better than your opponent, and you'll play winning tennis. Now, you can play the ball and win with this double offer from Tennis Magazine. You'll receive a free half-hour video by Tennis Magazine instruction editor Vic Braden, plus a full year, 12 issues of Tennis Magazine. Call this number now and change the way you play tennis. What a combination. The How to Play Winning Tennis with Vic Braden video, plus the magazine that brings more instruction to more tennis players than any other. Call 800-372-3000 for a full year of Tennis Magazine, plus the free video. Just $13.77. Call 800-372-3000 now.
Live, top-ranked boxing on ESPN. The place where fighters have stepped into the ring as unknowns, made the right connection, and emerged as champions.
You gotta knock them out to win this, all right?
Undefeated Todd Foster, the U.S. Olympian, provides the knockout power against Davey Montana. Plus, Scotty Olson, the flamboyant Bulldog, is ready to show his stuff. Top-ranked boxing, Thursday night, live on ESPN.
At the top of the hour, Sunday Night Baseball here on ESPN. Joe Morgan and John Miller will show you Charlie Huff's White Sox at Fenway against the Boston Red Sox. That's coming up at the top of the hour here on ESPN. This has not been a season that Ellis Burks wants to remember. The quiet Red Sox center fielder has struggled both physically and mentally this year, as has really his whole team. Chris Myers has a closer look.
He's gone from an all-star to a star all lost. Ellis Burks hit .296 with 21 home runs last season and led the Red Sox to a division title.
Fly ball, left field, deep, high, goal!
flying into the wall for a home run. He had the makings of one of the best all-around players in the game, heralded as the next Willie Mays. This year, he's been in a season-long slump, struggling to get himself on, struggling to get others in.
I think I was 0 for 23, something like that. And, you know, you try not to listen to fans. And all of a sudden I'm warming up and I hear, you know, don't go 0 for 30, you know, or something like that. Like I really wanted to hear that.
Well, you can do a lot of talking, but he has to adjust the way they're pitching, and he's not doing it. He knows what they're doing, and he's got to go about it in that fashion. So far, he has not done that.
In a city where the curse of the Bambino is still believed by some to exist, Ellis Burks may be struggling with the curse of unlimited potential. That label has magnified his hitting woes and made it that much more difficult to correct.
When you tend to get off to a slow start like I did this year, and the word potential pops up again and again and again, I mean, you tend to wonder yourself. I mean, what am I doing wrong? Am I putting too much pressure on myself right here? I mean, you know, tell me what's up.
His swing is not quite as quick as it used to be. I don't know why. We've tried to get him to speed it up a little bit, but I don't know.
Well, I've widened my stance. I've backed off the plate. I've, you know, gotten back on the plate. I've crouched down. I mean, I've tried everything.
Boston banked a lot on their center fielder, letting Dave Henderson go, and 2 years ago saying no when the Mets offered Len Dykstra and Sid Fernandez for Burks. Now Ellis is facing his toughest battle and fears the worst, the bench.
Before this year, that had never crossed my mind. And then I got off to that slow start, and it just kept going and kept going. It did cross my mind once. I mean, like, gee, I mean, what if I get sit on the bench? I mean, is that going to be the thing to click and wake me up?
Burks is more interested in answers than excuses. One of those excuses he's heard regards his race. For a time, he was the only black player on the team until Mo Vaughn made the headlines in Boston when he was called up to join the Red Sox.
A great quote Mike Marshall said. He said, you know, how would you feel if you were the only white player on a team of 24 black players? You would feel a little bit out of place, but not so uncomfortable that you can't deal with it, but you would feel out of place. And with the addition of Mo this year, I mean, it's good to have another guy around.
You're with somebody who can understand you and have a feel for what you really feel, and that's just the way it is, you know, that's reality.
And reality can be hard in an area where racial tension is thick and expectations run high.
People ask me what I would do about the race issue in Boston. I said my answer was the only race I was worried about is the pennant race.
And if the Red Sox are to be a part of a pennant race, they need Burks to move closer to his potential.
With the disappointing season that I've had so far, I feel if I would have, you know, done a little this, a little that earlier, maybe we could have been, you know, where we should and where we're supposed to be.
And Burks is supposed to be an MVP-type player. The Red Sox are still waiting for the player who has it all to put it all together.
All right, Chris, thank you. We're not pointing fingers here, but the fact remains. 12 years after Jackie Robinson broke the color line in 1947, he played for the Dodgers, the Red Sox were the last team to have their first black player, 59, Pump Seat Green. Through the years, Peter, they've had very few black players on the roster at the same time. It takes a very special person to be an island, really, and maybe that's part of the problem for Ellis Burks.
Well, Chris, the word I use to describe the way Burks feels this year is uneasy. I mean, he is uneasy with the whole racial business. I mean, let's face it. Guys like Tim Raines and Ozzie Smith have said, there's no way they're going to the Red Sox. There's a reputation that goes. Burks was there when Jim Rice left under really terrible circumstances. They dumped Lee Smith and said, well, this guy's bad for the team. All he does is get 30 saves every year. And so there's a feeling there that, you know, what really is going on? He's also uneasy with the city. I mean, he is a very quiet, laid-back Texan. I mean, I compare him a lot to Cecil Cooper, who was another intelligent, quiet, laid-back Texan in the mid-'70s that they got rid of and said, oh, this guy doesn't really play that hard. Well, of course, that's baloney. But Burks is uneasy with the way Boston, I mean, just drive in Boston. You stop at a red light, bam, they beep at you. You know, I mean, it's a crazy city to live in. He's uneasy with the buildup. I mean,